Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Mortis FM, a Star Wars podcast. I am Grayson, one of your hosts.
I'm Cole, the other host, Grayson. Today we're talking about...
Bad Batch, Season 3, Episode 13, Episode 13, Into the Breach. Is it 13? There's 15 episodes. We have 2 episodes left. 13. Someone will correct me in the comments, but either way, we have 2 episodes left. Into the Breach!
Into the Breach. In this one, we're going into the Breach, and I think that is particularly interesting.
It is pretty interesting. There's not a whole lot of, deep stuff to talk about, but I still really did enjoy this episode. I'm not sure how you felt about it.
Oh, I thought it was great. Yeah. I
was gonna say, did you like seeing Echo do really cool stuff?
Yeah. I'm happy that Echo got to stretch his legs in this one, because he's been on the bleachers for too long. He's been on the bench for too long. He hasn't been utilized properly, and in this one he very much has. I think it was it was a solid Star Wars heist break-in story, you know?
Yeah.
It's very classic, you know? You go in, there's an agent, you impersonate as Imperials, and things go a little haywire, and, you know, you escape right under the, right out of the gate, you know?
I like how it's just like, it's not like even, okay, they got to the end and now they succeeded. It is a heist to get to the boss battle, you know? To be honest, this episode was filled with a ton of tension. There was so many loopholes and gates and hoops they had to jump through just to be able to get to Tantus. And now they still have to deal with that. But even then I was like, especially towards the end, I was locked in, dude, are they gonna make it?
I know, and now well, should we go play by play, or should we just talk about
Yeah, I'll go through. Basically, we have our two main plots, and I won't get into every specific detail. But yeah, we flip back and forth between the Batch and Omega. And I'll just go and address Omega's stuff going on. We can maybe talk about that because it's pretty brief. It's 3 or 4 scenes that are broken up, but essentially she starts she meets and tries to kind of make a plan with all of the other kids at Tantus. And of course, her time with her brothers has paid off because she immediately starts taking in a lot of different, just that mischievous nature from Hunter, Crosshair. I would say specifically, she uses a lot of skills she's learned from Hunter, Crosshair, and Tech. But then again, everybody really. And she's immediately trying to figure out a plan to get out of here.
Mapping out the whole area with the little pieces and
she
takes a little tool in order to pry one of the tiles open.
And then
that's crazy.
I don't know how she got all those tiles back on the wall that fast. When there's a part where where Emery Carr comes in, and I was I thought she was just gonna go in the wall and be gone. But then she's we switch, and 7 or 6 or 7 of those panels fell off the wall, and I guess she was
when that other scientist comes in.
Sorry, yeah, it wasn't Carr. It was one of the other scientists with the bangs. Yeah. Omega pulled a Lego character, just
the camera just pans over to her. You just see her and I want someone to edit that scene where you just hear Lego bricks coming together, and then you hear the completion where it's just
you hear the studs clang everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be great. She absolutely did that. I mean, I too was how the heck did she get all of this back up? Because a fourth of the wall fell off, basically.
Yeah. She pulled one off, and it was I was okay, geez. I guess you got to stick with this now. But no, she just popped them back in, I guess.
Talk about how fragile those Imperial walls are, though.
Yeah, I mean, she had to put no effort. She literally slid the thing in there and was popped it, and then just all of them fell out. I was
Wouldn't happen with good old fashioned brick. I'm just saying.
I was about to say, like, what's she gonna do? Just chisel? Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy too, because this is like one of their vaults. So
yeah. So there's two ways that I'm thinking about it. Is that one, they underestimated children. No surprise. They were like, we just need a wall. It's nothing. You know. Or two, as we know, Empire is all about quantity over quality.
Yeah.
And so they probably like bought those from Walmart or something like that. Yeah. And you know, not to diss that on Walmart, you know, but that's definitely the great value wall.
Great value wall. Yeah. It was a cool little sequence of events. People have acknowledged this before, but we get like these really cool sequence of establishing shots where like we see like the mountain of Mount Tantus like top down, and then later on we see the cell top down, and then later on we see the little thing she's used top down, and it's just like this neat little through line of parallels.
Enhance.
Yeah, exactly. And they like look down on the ground and there's just like a crumb. No.
There's like a bunch of bacteria forming in the escape plan or something
we see the midichlorians.
Oh my god. Yeah. Exactly.
We also learned all the names of the kids that we had not known yet already. So there's Jax, which we knew, Eva, which we already knew. Then the Pantoran girl with the white hair is Sammy. And then the little baby is, I believe, Baynard.
I can only assume that they named him.
Maybe,
because I don't see how you know he would have been given his name otherwise. Like unless like in the day he got there, he stood up and he was like, "I'm Baynard," you know,
smoking his Marlboro Reds.
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of imagine like, oh well, Sammy probably named him because like she's carrying him around. Like
I don't know, she's so sweet.
It's so sweet. Like they're looking out for the little guy, even though they're all kids. It's so heartbreaking, and it just makes me hate this more and more.
So I guess the main question is do you think with when she makes the plan, she finds out that there's like this kind of these tunnels up the wall, they're going to use that to their advantage, probably either the next episode or in the finale. But the main thing is like they've spent, I wouldn't say a lot of time, but a decent amount of time on these kids and Omega, and we've always had the speculation that there might be a Path show. At this point, I'm convinced no Ventress is showing up again. Probably no Boba, nothing like that.
She's got to be gone, man. No Boba, no Delta Squad. Pour one out, you know.
Yeah.
That was a shot in the dark. Anyway,
I think there's still hope. Like, if there's any hope for anything, I would say Delta and like the finale, just as like a big fight, you know.
If Delta Squad shows up, I'll go run a 5K as I am right now. And people that know me personally, my health is very bad. So like
I hope Delta Squad isn't there.
No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm essentially at the point where like I don't think we have enough time at all at this point, because the batch is just now getting to Tantus and we have 2 episodes left. The only way I could see this happening is if the last episode was like an hour long, like the first episode of season 1 was.
Well, the question I was asking though is, do you think, since we have such little time, and now I know we're not going to get Ventress unless it was like a cold ending, because I do think Omega will survive. Do you think these kids are part of the first initiative and wave of the Path, like the clones uprise, these kids get out, maybe they're some of the only survivors other than like Rex, Gregor, whoever?
I could easily see like this be a situation where Omega is like they're, you know, I have to help them too, like, you know, like after they get out, she probably feels like a duty to help these people, because like you can kind of tell, like I don't know, I feel like she is so drawn to the Path now that for her to not be connected to it almost feels like a mistake. I think they will be connected to this. Maybe I mean, oh my God, God forbid, maybe they'll die, and then Omega will take that super seriously, like, I have to go help
The kids.
more people like them. I have to go help
Yeah.
kids, like, find their way, but also she's gonna be, I mean, if she, obviously she's going to be still sought after if she escapes. So she's gonna have to be funneled along that path too. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I think they will be a part of it.
Yeah.
This inevitable obligatory path show, because there's no, like, something's gonna happen, because, like, we already know that Ventress's appearance in this show was known as the appetizer, and we know, as far as we have been shown, that she's not in Tales of the Sith, because we're dealing with other stories there.
Tales of the Empire.
Yeah, Tales of the Empire, sorry.
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna say that, and then Tales of the Sith's gonna come out, like, next year or the year after that.
Like, nah!
But yeah, there's now a vacuum, and something's gotta give, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, especially because, like, I think about the way the Bad Batch initiated, with it being like those first 4 episodes of Clone Wars season 7, and then that being like we've been like, all right, we're not going to get any more time with the Bad Batch, I guess. And then they're like, actually, no, there's a Bad Batch show. And that was kind of like a backdoor pilot for the Batch. And so, we went in going with the season, like, thinking that Ventress might be a more prominent part. And then she showed up and she left. And unless she pops up at the very end of the final season or the final episode, I don't see her popping up again, really. And so that makes, and especially because, like you said, appetizer, it feels like her episode was a backdoor pilot for whatever is happening with her. I mean, we know also Quinlan is tied to the path via Kenobi, his mention there. So, like, it feels like these pieces have been put in place to be like, okay, like, this is now the direction of where we're going with the animation, and maybe the Path show ends up being. Maybe it's not even just a Path show. Maybe it's just more of a continuation of that story, and that's where we get a little bit more of that connective tissue with Rex ending up where he's at in Rebels. Maybe that's not done yet, right? I don't know. I get, like, every week I think I'm like, oh, okay, I know, like, I have an idea, and it's like, okay, we only have 2, like you said, 2 episodes left, and unless that final episode is only an hour, or is an hour long, I'm like, I mean, surely can they wrap all this up?
Yeah, I don't know, because we're now on our way to Tantus. Like, the batch is going there, right? We've got Hunter, we've got Hunter, Crosshair, Wrecker, Echo, and new Bad Batch member Rampart on the way to Mount Tantus. Rex is not there, and so there still needs to be space for Rex to show up to Tantus, which kind of begs the question. The last episode is called "The Cavalry Has Arrived." So are they gonna, like, radio Rex or something, and Rex is gonna show up with all of the forces that they've been collecting?
That's exactly what I think it is. I only thought about this yesterday. I think I was listening to Connor and Seth talk about it, and it dawned on me. I think you're exactly right that, like, the cavalry has arrived is the very first thing that Wrecker says, right? And that's them helping the 501st, or the regular clones. So now is it going to be the regular clones coming to help the Bad Batch? Like, what a beautiful parallel if that's the case, right?
Oh my god, dude. What if the rest of Delta Squad is with Rex, and they have to convince Scorch to back the F down? Like, that would... Oh, man. I gotta stop doing this. I just get myself so excited for this kind of stuff. And then Marak dies, and, I have no option. I'm holding out hope, man. I'm holding out hope. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Well, maybe he'll be with Cody. That'd be wild.
Because we don't really, again, we have not seen Rex since those kind of middle episodes with Wolf and Gregor and Hauser. So we know they're still out there. Echo pulled up. Well, I guess for that,
Echo pulled up.
Like, yeah, he did.
Or something.
Let me. I guess we'll go ahead and get into like the sequence of events of what happens with the batch, and we can break it down further. But essentially, like, so the batch still has Rampart. I forgot that they don't have a ship. So they're dropped. So they got out, and rest in peace, the
Rest
Marauder.
in peace,
dude.
Marauder.
up there with the all-time greats with the Razor Crest.
Up there with the Razor Crest.
Yeah, they're in heaven together. Or slowly we're gonna have like, you know, that meme of like heaven with like famous people who are like legends, you know, whether it's like Bob Ross or Stan Lee or Carrie Fisher. There's like the individual that like Harambe, like people.
It's just the Marauder sitting up there with them. Like just
all I'm thinking is like people could start making a meme of like adding more on there. So it was like first the Razor Crest, and now it's that, and so like surely over time more ships are gonna get destroyed.
Oh God.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're hanging out on this space station with Rampart, basically waiting for pickup. Which is weird because I'm like, okay, this is a weird thing to think about. So they're hanging out on this space station with no ship, right? At the end of the last episode, they were on Fee's ship, you know? So did Fee drop them off at that space station, and then they're like, we're gonna call Echo? Because Rampart says like, where did that pirate drop us off at, you know?
Oh yeah.
So was he talking about Fee, I assume? And
yeah, it has to be.
Okay. For some reason I thought it was like they had gotten dropped off somewhere else, and then they paid a pirate to take them there, but I'm like, that wouldn't make sense. And Fee is basically a pirate, so
well, yeah, I think it's more like a Rampart generalization.
Yes. Yeah. Him being snooty, which he is throughout this entire episode, and it's kind of great.
There is a certain charm with him still. I mean, like he's still an ass, you know.
Oh yeah, he still sucks.
but he's still, I don't know, like he's got those moments where he's like, oh, I miss doing that, or you know, something like that. Like
I loved that moment later on.
He just kind of eats it up. It's a very like you watch him go, you're like, slay queen, you know.
yeah. That someone literally said that. They were like, Rampart is such a girl boss. Like,
I know exactly. He's girl bossing his way out to the station.
Yeah, that's the one thing. So I'll get to it, I guess, in a second here. But yeah, so Echo pulls up, like I said, and he's like, they basically make a plan, and we're like, all right, we got to figure out, you know, how to get to Tantus. And so they make this plan of that Rampart has been there, but the coordinates are safeguarded. So they go to this station where the codes, the coordinates get like refreshed under this like code, like through a transmission every rotation is what they say. So their plan is to go to this space station, pretend to be Imperials, get to the main facility, get the codes. It's to get the codes to disable the sensors on the ship, right?
Yeah, because it's directly sent to the ship, I think.
Yes.
And they have to
right before departure. So they have to get on the ship, but they can't get on the ship until so it's two different things. So yeah, the codes are transmitted to the ship. They have to get on the ship, but they can't get on the ship until someone sneaks on the ship and disables the sensors so that they can land on it and then pull out. So it's this whole multi-step process where everything had to become this perfect storm. And so it's just this like they get the all black armor. I don't know what the term is, but essentially they're like raising off their paint. Mm-hmm.
So the paint's gone. It's like I don't know, man. It definitely shows like, oh, we're in the end times kind of thing, because they're
all
losing.
Black.
Yeah, they're losing their paint job, and a lot
of people are saying that it's like their funeral clothes. They're wearing all black.
That is exactly what I was gonna say. Was that like I had this thought in my mind where I was like, you know, where else like you wear all black is at a funeral, you know? So I don't.
StarWars.com also explained. They put out a post. They were like, "This is the first time that we see the Batch in all black armor, which is the closest to what they would have looked like in their first mission." So apparently they used to look like that. So it's also yet again they apparently look like, and this is officially StarWars.com on Instagram. They posted that. I'm like, they look like what they looked like on their first mission on what could be their last mission.
That's so cool and terrible at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they would have been like, not exactly like shinies, but they were still in phase 1 where like that kind of like real phase 1, like alpha level, where they hadn't put in those kinds of cosmetics yet. Man, just thinking about them being kind of like, you know, in all black armor, that's something. A lot more sinister, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely. When you look, like, they look like they've lost so much of their personality, you know, because of that, which is like what you said. Like, it's kind of what happens with the Empire. But it does feel symbolic. In the same way that, like, I view when Kanan cuts his hair off and shaves his beard, he kind of goes back to being Caleb Doom in that moment. It's very similar with that. Or like, we're back to our beginning, you know.
Or like how Anakin gives Ahsoka her lightsabers, you know, with new crystals in them, right? Like, it's always kind of this return to your roots in order to finish what was started, sort of thing.
Yep.
Honestly, that happens in Star Wars quite often.
Love it.
It's a very cyclical journey.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I just really don't like the idea. All right. We got to talk about this, man.
Go for it.
Are they gonna die?
I don't think all of them will die. I think most of them will die. Here, my bets are here's my bets. Hunter, done. Hunter is for sure done. 100% done. Echo, done. 100%, he's gone. Wrecker, I say 70% chance he dies. 30% chance he lives. Crosshair, I could go 50-50 on.
Yeah.
Omega, I'm going to say like 80% chance she lives.
I'm going to say
that's my ratio.
Yeah. Okay. I'm for Omega, I'm thinking more like 90 to 95. I really don't think that they're planning to let her go anytime soon.
Yeah.
But why do you think Echo's done? What actually, why do you think Echo and Hunter are both done? I'm just curious.
Those, when I think of characters that would go living beyond this show, Hunter and Echo feel like they've served their purpose, you know, and they feel like the kind of the ones that are like, yep, they're done. Someone is dying, but I think it's going to be multiple people. I think Wrecker, that feels like there could be more growth with his character, maybe. And maybe Hunter as well. Maybe Hunter's like 90%. But also I think about the track record of what Echo has had. And I'm like, I feel like Echo, if he does live, they would only let him live if he was one of the he could have been one of the clones that was in Rebels, you know. In fact, I would have liked Echo more than no hate to Gregor. I love Gregor, but like, it would have been interesting to see, like, at the time, because when those previs episodes had been done and Echo was already known to be alive, it would have been interesting if instead of Gregor, it was Rex, Echo, and Wolf.
Yeah.
In Rebels, you know, but they just didn't know that, right? So obviously they don't set that up, and that doesn't mean that Echo, I guess, can't still be out there. But I feel like with as much as he is with Rex, and if he does live, he would have been in Rebels, you know? And I know Rebels came before, but that's kind of my telltale signature. Now, he could just be off somewhere. I mean, again, some of these characters could just be off somewhere, but, like, here's also what I'll say. On TikTok, the bio for StarWars.com says, already missing Clone Force 99.
Oh.
And people are like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So and the person who's been running the StarWars.com Instagram and TikTok has been a lot more, like, I can tell they're a little bit more youthful, like in terms of their marketing and stuff, which is not a bad thing. But that, I'm like, it could just be like, it could be literally like a fan, or like, you know, the person running it is like a fan of the show, and they're like, they think the same thing we do, but it's like also, I don't know, maybe it's a mislead, but
they might be saying it because the season's about to end.
Sure, yeah.
And so they're like, I'm already missing them, you know, which is like kind of common to hear. So that's total cope speak, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's so I'm kind of like 50% on almost everything except for Omega. Like I'm almost positive Omega is gonna make it, but like as for the Bad Batch, like I could see it go either way. Like they live or they die. I could see it, you know, they're like, all right, well, we're, you know, we need to let Omega go off on her own. We're all gonna be old men and chill out somewhere. You know, we served our purpose, right?
Feels too happy.
But it's too happy. It is too happy. And we still we you know, we still haven't gotten that confirmation on whether or not X2 is Tech, or you know what was done with Tech's body.
He's also interesting thing is if X2 is Tech, or say Tech is. I made the guess. I'm like, what if X2 isn't Tech, but Tech is one of the ones that are cooking? If that makes sense. That not Rampart. That Hemlock is like it's not ready yet, and they find Tech, and like again. They're all in black. The color of their armor matches the Clone X variants. Like, it could be like, and the fact that Echo is with them, it's like it's literally all of the batch together. You know, at least without Tech. And I know a lot of people are really against Tech still being alive. Even if he is still alive, I think he's done. You know,
what kind of cost? You know, like he might be alive, but is he still there? Is he still living in that way?
Yeah. But I will say the more that the season goes on, I really don't think that Tech is alive, specifically because I feel like they would have done it by now. And also, I think it would be so similar to what happens with Echo in Bad Batch, where I think he's dead, he's not dead, he's alive, he's being used by the enemy, and it's like, that would just be Tech. Like, they Winter Soldier him, basically. And I'm like... Well, I don't want that to happen like twice, you know?
Well, Echo was kind of Winter Soldier, but like he was never turned into like a direct adversary, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So like
just used his brain.
Yeah, so I mean maybe they could do it where it's like, yeah, Echo Tech is X2 or Tech is one of those guys that's cooking. But like at the very end, you know, like he kind of remembers who he is and he ends up sacrificing himself in order to, you know, in order to save something, and then he like dies his true death, I guess. I don't know.
Or the batch sacrifices themselves to save Omega and Tech.
That would be, and Tech goes back with Fee or something. Oh man, I
don't know. There's so many variations you could go with, you know?
I don't know. I'm in the dark now. I haven't watched I didn't watch like a lot of the trailers, and I haven't been watching any of the teaser stuff either because I don't want to. Like seeing any kind of clip has, you know, the potential for spoilers basically, or like is technically a spoiler because like you see like a scene or a set piece or whatever. That's why I even try to avoid looking at the episode thumbnail when I select it on Disney Plus, because I'm like, I don't want to know what I'm gonna see in this episode. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, we said it last time, and we're saying it again now. No idea what's gonna happen. Honest to God, no idea, because there's just so many loose ends at this point.
Yeah.
That I can't predict it. I can't.
They really are not letting us in on anything. And I know that first trailer gave away a lot, but now we're at this point where we have not seen anything. Like the trailer has not shown anything from these last two episodes yet. So like I really just have no idea where
we're in the realm of the unknown, man.
What is
I'm here for it.
I'm trying to think of the name of the next episode because Cavalry has arrived.
Flash Strike.
Yes. Okay, and that's also that also indicates, you know, what could happen in the next episode. You know,
there's gonna be a flash and a strike. Yeah,
the definition of a flash strike is essentially kind of like a bunch of workers just quickly revolting.
Yeah, I just looked it up. When workers go on a sudden strike without giving any prior notice to the employer.
So, who could that be? Could that be Emery Carr?
Emery?
Could that be all of the clones on Tantus? Could that be
Scorch?
I don't know.
Very unlikely, but
yeah, Scorch is the ace in the hole. No, that would be so funny.
That would be nuts, dude, if Scorch was like a sleeper agent this entire time, but like there's a certain limit, right? I don't know.
That would be wild. I feel like they'd have to give him more development though, you know?
Yeah, Yeah.
Rampart could be, but I don't know. Rampart seems to really still be like pro Empire, even though they completely like screwed him over, you know?
I will say, I don't think he's pro Empire. I think he's just pro Jackass.
Yeah.
Like he just no. He's pro Rampart. Rampart wants to win. The empirical system is literally meant to benefit all of the skullduggery and the backstabbers and like, you know, crawling
like Tarkin
and climbing for power. Tarkin and Hemlock, even though Hemlock's more of a dedicated scientist than anything else. But Krennic, you know. So
Gideon.
yeah, Gideon. Rampart's pro Rampart, and pro Rampart right now is telling me that he wants to get revenge on the Empire because they were anti Rampart.
That's true. That, you know, that is a good analogy.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of issue dealing with, like, you know, like being against the Empire. He really just doesn't want to become, like, he does not like clones. Like, he really just hates them. And so, so I'm like, what role will he serve on Tantus? Like, otherwise, surely he's not just going to be there like, all right, I'll hang out till you guys get back, but you're probably going to die. Like, he's literally, like you said, he's like he's just being strung along right now.
God, dude, imagine if he's like if he turned into a rat. Like, he's like, he's like, oh, I'll just go over here, and then he takes out a communicator. He's like, the clones are here on Tantus, you know.
Or like, Hemlock gives like, he's like, you'll be given a full pardon and reinstated to your title if you tell me where they're at, or you help me out, you know. And
then he'll have a chance to say, they're right over there, or long live the rebellion.
Yeah, knowing Hemlock, Rampart will rat them out, and then Hemlock will kill him because he's like, I lied.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of in Hemlock's nature. He does not reward traitors. Hemlock is not a man of his word, I don't think. He does not seem like someone who is a man bound by loyalty or trust or his word.
He is in the pursuit of his work. And killing Rampart killing Rampart, or, you know, I guess I'll say reinstating Rampart has no benefit to Hemlock whatsoever. It's no like, oh, you know, they're like, I'll this guy will owe me a favor or whatever. Like, Hemlock literally doesn't care. He's like, just tell me and I'll give you your status. And then he tells him, he's like, all right, thanks, and kills him off because he has no need for that.
I was about to say, I don't even know if Hemlock has the power to do that in the first place.
Yeah, that too. I mean, he's the chief scientist, but I don't think he could dial up Palpatine and go like, yo, I got this buddy.
You'll be the type of guy to be like if you tell me where they're at, I'll consider speaking to Governor Tarkin to reinstate your full rank or whatever. And then he tells him, and he's just like, and then he pulls out the gun and he's like, wait, you told me you would talk, and he was just like, I said I'd consider it.
Yeah, I said I'd consider it. Yeah, imagine if that's exactly what happens, but I don't know.
That seems so in character for Hemlock. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I is it weird that I have more hopes for Rampart than I did for Sid?
Dude, I mean, yeah. Here's the thing about Rampart, right? Is like, at least you knew his loyalties at that time, right? Yeah. Like, he was loyal to the Empire, right? He was just on that side. Sid feigned loyalty. She ended up in when the going got tough, she ratted out the people that she thought were her, or that they thought were friends of her, you know?
She folded.
Yep. She did. She immediately was like, my give up.
She folded. She twice. 2 times.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad we just won't get to see her again.
I'm kind of glad we hopefully don't see her again.
She shows up. She's like, hey, Goggles.
What happened to Goggles?
Yo, killed him. But yeah, in terms of just like the kind of narrative of this, it's just a big sequence of events. Dude, the moment when like you said, when Rampart is like walking and he's like, oh, like he's bossing that other guy around and he's like, this is a top secret squad, you know, which I kind of like the idea of, like, imagine if they were just some cool squad, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, they are a cool
like,
squad. They're just not.
They are, but they're not Imperial, right? Yeah. And then him being like, oh, I've missed this, you know, bossing people around.
Mm-hmm.
Then they do their whole thing. And then just see, again, Echo came in super clutch this episode. Where, dude, where he's like running across kind of like, I don't want to say the shipyard, but the hangar as they're getting ready for the ship to be, or where the cargo containers are at and the droids are getting sucked up the tube. Him like flipping over crates and running
he vaults
and stuff.
over the crate.
I was like, he is on his solid Snake game right now, dude. Like,
in my mind, like I said to myself, I was like, "There's that inner ARC trooper." Like, he's in
dude,
there, you know, because he was a top tier clone, dude. I mean,
yeah.
He's
I do forget he was an ARC trooper. I forget when he blows up in Clone Wars. He's an ARC trooper.
Yeah, him and Fives were ARCs. They went to the Citadel together.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I miss Five. I saw a clip recently, and this is one of my favorite little moments where Fives and Anakin are like, they're hanging outside like a little hangar door, like out in space, and they have goggles, and he's like, "Your goggles Jedi issue, sir?" And he's like, "Stay focused, Rex." Or sorry, stay focused, Fives. And Fives just laughs. I was like, man, I miss those days, you know?
Because Anakin's goggles are like super tiny.
Yeah, they're like little tiny goggles.
Yeah,
oh man,
Fives is one of my favorite clones, and I miss him every day, man.
Do you think he could be a Clone X? Probably not. He's done.
Ooh,
but people have speculated that.
If he was,
sad,
I would not be well, because, you know, let's operate under the assumption that Tech died from the fall.
Yeah.
Because if he was not saved from that fall, he absolutely died. So if he is kind of like resurrected or like brought back from the brink of death, I guess one could say that Fives is in a similar way. If that's the case, that'd be really rough. Yeah. I would not like that. I would not be okay. I would be sad, and you would have to talk to me like several weeks in the future.
You're just like, talk to me.
Yeah.
Let me grieve.
I would also love it though, because that would just be so cool. I'd be like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah. Who was I talking to recently that were like saying that the Clone X's might be there's no, I guess this is more of a popular theory. Maybe it wasn't just one person, but they were saying that the Clone X's, maybe we talked about this as well, that they could just be clones of Crosshair, or at least the one that we think of, because we talked about it, that the voice kind of wavers, you know.
Yeah, because the last time we heard it, it was multiple layers of D. Bradley Baker doing all of the different clone voices. It was just such a good idea.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, do Rex, do Crosshair, do Tech, do Hunter, do Wrecker, do all of them, and then let's just splice them all together, you know, same tempo. Really cool idea.
Well, it's also very symbolic too, because it is just like this. It's a nameless clone, you know, that there's no personality to them, and for D, for those clones, their personalities come a lot from their voices. And so to have them all layered together, there is none. It's just a soulless soldier. So something to think about.
Yeah, and that might just be what it is. I don't know, but
it's definitely something. It's too much buildup. It's absolutely something. So.
Yeah. It's interesting that, well, I guess there wasn't really a reason for him to show up in the last 2 episodes, but yeah, after Echo, he sneaks on, and then he goes into the cargo hold of the ship, and literally to the very last moment, they get like the rest of the batch gets back on the ship, and they're approaching the vessel, waiting for those codes, and they're about to jump to light speed. And Echo, literally like down to the wire at the last minute, gets it, and they clamp on, and literally I mean, I was like I was just straight focused, like, dude, what is gonna, like, it was, the tension build up was phenomenal. And as soon as you get that clank, bam, just blitz off, and then straight to black, dude.
I know, there is so much riding on the success of that, but I also love the faith that the batch had in Echo, you know?
Yeah.
Because like Rampart was like, no, they're gonna catch us, you know, and Crosshair's like, Echo's handling it. He's got this. And
Hunter's just like, he's just locked in, you know.
And it gets to the point where he actually he goes ahead and moves forward before the sensors are turned off, on the assumption that they're going to be turned off on the right time. And I think that has to do with Hunter's senses.
Yes.
But which, you know, I'm just going to say is partially the Force, but whatever.
Yeah. The Force flows through all living beings. There's always some.
It does.
His dice were rolled well. If it was,
I know.
If it was
roll the
Force
Force dice, and so did Echo. Like, everyone pitched in there. Yeah, that was.
I've been seeing this trend of videos, and I think it would be really good with Star Wars, where people will like stitch themselves with a video of like a movie scene. So, for example, I saw one, and it was Legolas taking out those orcs in Return of the King on the giant war elephant.
Yeah.
And it's like this awesome action sequence, right? And like he's like, the DM is like, okay, so give me like a dexterity check, but disadvantage, blah blah blah. Like, okay, it's gonna be another athletics check. Okay, that attack hits. Okay, they miss. And he's like, okay, though it's like, to get off this elephant in the way you want to, you have to roll a nat 20. And the guy like rolls a nat 20, and he's like, and so Legolas just has like that epic moment.
Seem like slide off, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my, like that. That would be really cool for people to do that with Star Wars, with like Force and Destiny, or even just regular D&D rules of like, oh, this is a whatever. But that Force dice or die, I guess, is so important.
Yeah, no. So this did actually kind of happen when I was you know my friend Ryan. The people that watch this show don't, but we have like a mostly mutual friend, Ryan.
Yeah.
That when I was testing out Force and Destiny, I tested it out with his character as kind of like a prologue thing, where like I made a little story for him and he would just kind of go along. And he was in this, he was in a cantina on Nar Shaddaa that a hut was visiting, and he needed to get his sponsorship for a tournament. And in order to get this sponsorship, you had to impress the hut. And Ryan said that he wanted to shoot the cup out of the hut's hand. And I was like, dude, that is like you're putting yourself into trouble, right? Because for one, you're opening fire on the hut, right? But for another thing, I mean, what if you miss and you hit him, you know? And he rolled 2 critical successes, which is essentially like the equivalent of a natural 20. And so what I said was, I like doing this thing where I say, describe what you do. Like, how do you pull this off?
Good DM.
Yeah, and because I really like them to, you know, when players roll right, they should be able to kind of strut their stuff, you know. And so he said that he essentially like shot the blaster off of reflective surfaces, and it was like ding 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 ding, and then hit the cup out of his hand, and I just immediately made the hut go, like just start laughing.
That's great.
And he got the sponsorship right off the bat, and I was like, dude, that is a perfect moment. So yeah, you're 100% right. That was the kind of moment that the batch did there. They got 2 critical successes there. They were rolling their Force dice.
That's such a crucial thing, I think, with Star Wars. I was talking to Will this past Wednesday about it, and again, literally how I view a lot of these shows and stuff, and it makes me enjoy it more. Talk to you about it as well on this show, of how I view it like D&D or a tabletop RPG. And so those moments of like, I mean, literally like in the original Star Wars, when Luke takes off the targeting sensors and shoots those torpedoes, that 1 in a million shot, you know, and the dice rolled, the force was on his side. That is such just a great part of Star Wars, is just beating those odds, right? Han does it. We've talked about Han a lot. Yeah, and it's like so little moments like that of this episode where this at the very last second he moves forward, even before he kind of gets the A-OK, and then the clamp gets on the landing gear magnetically clamps onto the ship, and as soon as it blasts off, you're like yes. It's it's great.
That was it was just such a perfect moment. It's like Indiana Jones, slipping under the door and grabbing his hat, like right after he makes it.
It's literally like, and what made me think of it is because I, as a viewer watching that scene in this episode in Bad Batch, it's just like when Luke, when he shoots the torpedoes, he shoots it goes in and he goes like he breathes,
Yeah, he's like,
and you're like,
yeah. And Han says, "Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million," because it literally was. I mean, that was an exhaust port that you're shooting proton torpedoes
this
through.
Small, dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
awesome,
I love Star Wars.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Well, that's
great episode.
Great episode. That's really all we got for this one. Pretty short and sweet. So I'm excited for Flash Strike, and the cavalry has arrived in the coming 2 weeks.
Krusty Krab is unfair. Mr. Krabs is in there.
someone has to, we'll make that edit.
So who we wonder who will be going on Flash Strike. Is it going to be another double entendre? Surely can't be just one person.
So remember what was the episode the other day where we were thinking about, it was Identity Crisis, where we were like, who we thought it was like, oh, what if it's Wolf? What if it's Scorch? What if it's the Clone X? And it ended up being Emery, right? Mm-hmm. So now immediately I'm like, is it Emery? But then I'm like, but a strike is not just, I wouldn't think it's just one person. I think it's many. And so
it feels more like a collaborated effort. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
So maybe, maybe it's Omega, and maybe Carr finally caves, helps Omega, and they get out a lot of the clones that are captured, which then leads to a lot of these commandos. Like they don't want to gun down their brothers, right? They're ordered to like kill them, right? And then that being like, no, we're not going to do that. And so then it's all these commandos, and then Rex comes in because the coordinates get. I bet next week's episode will end on a very big cliffhanger of like, get ready for the last episode, like it's going to hit and you're going to be like, let's go, dude.
What I think is going to happen is like, it's probably going to be, you're probably right, where Emery and Omega start getting all these clones out, and then maybe the batch meets up with them, and it ends up being this kind of war of attrition, and then Crosshair leads them to the control center where he initially sent in his frequency codes to the batch, and they end up communicating with Rex. And he basically says something along the lines of, we're on our way. And then the episode kind of ends where it's like, we're waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Like Rex is bringing reinforcements, I'm willing to bet. Watch it just be like a clone clown car, and just millions of them just start coming out.
It's just like this, like that little pod from the episode he was last in, but they're just like, like just all funneling out. Yeah, I'm curious who all he has. I mean, I know they lost a lot of the clones, but Rex has a reason to be there other than just Omega, and it seems, and I like that. A lot of their goal has been, at least for Rex and for Echo, is to get back there. And now Omega is saving herself. Like the batch is going there to be like, all right, we got to get Omega. Yeah. But Omega's like, they'll probably get there, and I could see her being already out, and then being like, well,
already in progress. Yeah.
Because if they leave, they can't get back again, So
let me say one thing though, because this just popped into my mind. Someone mentioned this on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Where's Batcher? Is Batcher back on Pabu? Did they just leave her to hang out there for a while, like maybe with Fee or something? Because Batcher was not in this episode. So
you're right. I guess she has to be with Fee or somebody, right? Because Batcher was when Fee picks them up. They have Batcher on Pabu, right? Yeah. And then I think Fee picks them up, and I'm pretty sure they still have Batcher. But then in this episode, they don't. So I'm assuming
they don't have AZ either. So it would make sense to go like, okay, we're going on a dangerous mission. Let's leave the dog at home, you know?
Yeah. I mean, especially because like they're trying to blend in with like they landed on that station pretending to be Imperials to be like, what's this dog doing here? You know,
what the dog doing?
What the dog? Yeah. I guess. I hope that probably also sets Batcher up for still being alive and well after the show if Omega lives, you know, and Omega going full Ninja Turtle Last Ronin with her
oh my God.
Her dog. Man. Well, shall we dive into a chat pack question?
Let us do it.
Wonderful. I'm grabbing this one. I don't even care. Not even thinking. I'm purely on instinct. I'm not even going to read it. I'm not even going to read it beforehand because I always give a reaction. I noticed that.
You're not even going to read it before you tell me.
Some Jedi can sense the history of an object when they touch it. That is psychometry card. I'm kidding. If you had this ability, what item would you want to pick up and learn about?
Oh,
one item using for psychometry. I guess this is assuming that you have access to whatever item you want, unless it's like an item that you own personally. What parameters do we want to set?
Have you ever seen Adventure Time?
I've seen bits and pieces.
So there's this wizard that he has to wear oven mitts because everything he touches, every inanimate object that he touches turns into like evil sentient objects. And so like he touches like Finn's hat and Finn's hat jumps off his head. He's like starts like messing stuff up. And so like I'm thinking, well, what if this is like, what if I want to go like touch like the Mona Lisa or something? I have to put on oven mitts and then get tickets to that museum and somehow manage to make my way past security defenses and then get the thing off and then go like that, you know? So I'm like, I have to be careful, unless it's just like, I mean, obviously that's super hyperbolic parameters. Like just say what the item is.
I think you're able to like focus in, you know, but that is funny.
Man, I mean, my gut instinct was to say like, oh, you know, insert historical object, but I'm thinking like, well, what if I like touch something that, you know, was like an old heirloom of my family, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of my dad's old stuff or something like that, just to like kind of get a, you know, loop of memory or whatnot. I don't know. It's really hard to decide. The Ark of the Covenant.
I like that though. That's kind of where I'm on the track of. I'm like, we know history of so many items. Like, and while it would be cool, like you said, the Mona Lisa or whatever, the Declaration of Independence, you know, whatever. But it's
you
like
see them writing it.
yeah. It's like, oh, okay, this is anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, an old heirloom would be cool. The thing is I just don't know what. So the house that I live in is pretty old. It was built in the 40s, I want to say, maybe 30s or 40s. So it's pretty old in our family. So I'm, you know, I know exactly what I would want to touch. This is such a specific object. When we moved into this house some 10 years ago, a little over, when we were moving in, I found an old rusted axe head out in the middle of not in the woods, kind of like out in the outskirts. We kind of have some like we have some old barns and stuff around here, live in a pretty rural area. And I remember when I was like 12 or 13, I found this axe head just kind of laying in the dirt and I dug it up and I was like, it's really, so I think we still have it laying around I think it's in the garage maybe. I would love to touch that axe head and see what it's been through. How did it get to that point? You know, how was it used? You know, and I'm sure it's probably just like, oh, the axe head broke and they lost it and it just fell there. But it's like, it's still cool. Like you don't know the history of it, right?
There's a story to it. I think, I think that would absolutely be neat.
Another cool example would be like when you get an old car, like touching the car to see like who all has had this before, right? Like what is it
the
gone
memories, the memories that happened in that car, and where did it go, and you know, stuff like that. I think would be very cool. I thought of a funny thought of like, okay, well, let's say it's not just one item. Like, let's just say that you just have the passive trait of psychometry. Sure. I would run into a Goodwill and just start running my hands along all the clothes, running super fast in order to give myself information overload. Dude,
that probably would destroy you, because the thing is with psychometry, at least what it's described in the Dark Disciple book with Quinlan Voss, because that's one of his unique traits, is when he holds an item, he doesn't just see the memories, he feels the feelings and everything, you know, like you take it all in as like a burden. And I'm like, so he holds his master's lightsaber, Master Thulp, and he like breaks down because he realizes Ventress killed his master. So it's like, I mean, doing that in a Goodwill, like you see every happy and sad moment that all these people have gone through wearing these clothes,
that shirt,
and you're like
looking themselves in the mirror and going, this is too small or this is too big, and then suddenly feeling like a million times insecure.
Yeah,
local man
was even thinking of like
in a Goodwill.
Just, dude, it's like the such a super random like for any Elden Ring players, you just get like the frenzy stat.
That's exactly.
You're just
or just frenzy from Bloodborne, like just same thing.
Was it madness in Elden Ring?
Yeah.
Because it's the flame of frenzy.
It's madness from the flame of Anyway.
Check out our another Dark Souls pot. No, I'm kidding.
There was I think one thing because I technically didn't choose one.
Okay. The question doesn't say like if you could only pick one thing. It just says what would you pick up, and so I don't think we're limited to one. But I mean, feel free to say more.
So I was thinking like, well, what if I went to go, what if I touched the crown of thorns in the Notre Dame? Because King Louis the Ninth, and I remember this from my medieval class, like he just said that like he got someone to get it for him. And there was wide amounts of debates on whether or not it was actually fabricated or not. And I just think that would be wild to just, do psychometry on that and then him say, "Can you commission this for me?"
Yeah.
Just like in the idea that like he knew that had happened, and he's like, I need to get someone to make that right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that'd be really
great.
Interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many items, dude. We could probably sit here thinking about for an entire hour.
And I guess a personal heirloom. Ever since I was a child, I have owned one wallet consistently, and that has been my grandfather's leather wallet.
That's awesome.
And I'm never changing wallets. It's never happening.
Unless it literally falls apart or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away when I was 3, so I never really got to know him. So I think, if even though I have used it practically my whole life now, if I could go far back enough with psychometry to, get more of a gist on the kind of person he was, I think that'd be cool too.
Yeah, because like depending on the item, like the item doesn't necessarily like just tell you like one memory. Like you can look through all of these different types of memories with it. So, so being able to look at it and I mean, a wallet is something that's used all the time. It's almost always on somebody's person. You would get a ton of history about one person just from a wallet, but that's, Force psychometry is really interesting. It's weird because I can't tell. Sometimes I do think it is unique to some Force users rather than others. The main ones that we know are Cal and Quinlan, but then Ahsoka does it a little bit in Ahsoka with the map. But I mean, it's and like Rey. Rey does do it with that's true with the dagger, but not. Oh, and I guess technically as well, the Skywalker saber.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, which even then, that's more premonitions than it is, because she also sees, she sees memories, but she also sees like the temple destroyed.
Yeah, she sees a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Dude, I've been on a big, like, I said this on live this past Wednesday, and some people flamed me for it, and I was like, I don't care. I've been on a big, like, Rey kick. Like, I'm like, I really love Rey, dude.
She's great, man. Love her.
I love you. I know you too. You're great.
Well, I'm really excited for the Rey movie, man. I mean, I really hope it's good. But I first got a proper introduction of it, you know, through, because it was done with Rey first, right? Or was it done
psychometry?
with or was it done with like Quinlan, or was it like Legends stuff or something like that?
I think it was in Legends, but in terms of canon visually, the first person that I remember was Quinlan. He does it.
Yeah, Quinlan in the Clone Wars. Yeah, right. Okay, so my understanding of it now, because it kind of broke my understanding of it when Ahsoka started using it in the show. Because like I used to think like, oh, it's a innate trait that people learn, or like it's an innate trait that people have. So like you're born and like you have the ability to use psychometry. Well, in the previous like Star Wars canon stories that we've gotten, we are more and more led to believe that everyone seems to have the aptitude to learn about the Force. So maybe psychometry is kind of like the same thing. It's like, well, using the Force is the elite club, but psychometry is the club within the club, you know, Batman style.
Yeah.
I think it's another thing that you can train yourself to learn.
I think people can train themselves to do it. It's just much like the Force. Some people have a natural aptitude for it, while others don't. And so, like, while we don't really see Ahsoka do it, she's also focusing really hard on the map.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, this is the best thing I've got. And she, like, just gets enough to be like, okay, I know what to do. Whereas Quinlan can just pick it up and immediately just, like, he doesn't even have to think about it.
And that's his thing. And to Rey, to Rey and to Cal, it happens naturally.
Yeah. And obviously with Cal, it's like a really cool gameplay mechanic. But yeah, like, I mean, Cal, you're seeing all these little echoes and items all over the place.
With Cal, like he's wigging out. Like I would say he's probably more sensitive to it than Quinlan is.
Oh yeah.
So
really cool.
Yeah, I think it's like you can have a natural attunement to it. But if you don't, it's not impossible to learn. So because like we would know if Ahsoka had it. She would go like, and I remember that time during the Clone Wars when I used it all the time, you know.
Yeah.
She's had a lot of time to learn and to travel and so like I think she had probably learned that on her own.
It's the same way with like. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say like much like Force Lightning or Battle Meditation or something like that.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's more stuff. You know, if you want to know how to do it, you learn it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, in the new, or not new, but in that High Republic book that I read, Light of the Jedi, one of the main Jedi, Avar Kriss, really cool character. It's kind of like Battle Meditation. She has this unique ability where she can link people together in the Force. So like for Jedi, for example, like she'll literally like Bastila will, but specifically with Jedi, she can link all of their minds together, so that way they can aid each other in battle and like basically be like all one unit, you know, where they all are feeling and understanding, and they don't even have to communicate.
That's gotta be Battle Meditation, man.
It basically is, yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's such a cool thing that I don't know.
There's even people that have said like that's kind of what happens with Palpatine. Kind of does that as well. Like he's in the battles that he's involved in, or like people have said this with like Return of the Jedi. Like everything goes bad once he dies, right? Like he kind of even has that ability in Battlefront 2, where he has like the giant cloud around him, and he like I think it's basically instead of helping his allies, he's weakening his enemies. You know? And once he gets taken out of the picture,
aura, like this dark aura.
Yeah. I think it literally is called Dark Aura. Yeah.
Well, what can I say? Yeah, that makes total sense. Very cool traits.
I love this when the Force uses stuff like that.
I hope that, and don't answer this, but I hope that there is card in there that's like, what, cool niche force ability would you like to learn? If you had to choose one.
Sure.
I think that'd be cool.
We still have a big stack, so
Big stack.
Yeah. Big stack. Yeah. Well, that is gonna do it for this episode of Mortis FM. Little announcement. Next week, I don't even think you might know this. Next week will be slightly delayed as I will be out of town from Wednesday on when the next episode of Bad Batch comes out all the way until Monday. So we might do a double episode just to kind of consolidate things, but we'll figure it out. Either way, the episode will be for next week's discussion will be a little bit delayed. So yeah, but Cole, where can they find you at?
You can find me at the.cosmic.drifter on Instagram, and you can find me on YouTube at The Cosmic Drifter.
You can find me at Shrage38, but more importantly, you can find Mortis FM at Mortis FM on basically everything. Wherever you're at, you can go down into the description and you will find links to everything, including Cole's YouTube channel.
Mortis FM on MySpace. Check it out. Sorry.
Not that one.
He said everywhere. I just...
What is it? Tumblr, friggin' LinkedIn.
We're now on Webkins. Check out our Webkins account.
We're on Tinder. Hit us up.
Yeah.
No, and we also I don't remember if I said this last week. We did when we first announced it. I keep forgetting to talk about it, but we do also have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you just want to support us in a very small way, from the kindness of your own heart, that is available. And if not, no worries. Mortis FM is free for you and for your enjoyment.
Very much so.
Cool. Do you have anything else to add, my friend?
Only one thing, honestly. May the force be with you.
Always.